They said humans couldn't survive the Gauntlet. She finished it before they reached the exit. The Zarathian High Council chamber fell silent as Commander Vextal announced the terms. The crystalline walls reflected the harsh blue light, casting angular shadows across the assembled alien dignitaries. At the center of it all stood Captain Maya Chen, her weathered flight suit a stark contrast to the elaborate ceremonial robes surrounding her. "The Gauntlet of Keth Mori," Vextal's translator crackled, "has claimed the lives of warriors from 17 different species. No being has ever completed its full course. Your species wishes to prove their worth as potential allies?" The Zorathians' four eyes gleamed with what might have been amusement. "Very well, but understand this, human. The Gauntlet does not merely test physical prowess. It tests the very essence of survival itself." Maya nodded once, her dark eyes steady. Around the chamber she could hear the whispered conversations of the various alien representatives. The insectoid klaxons clicked their mandibles dismissively. The gas-based ethereals pulsed with colors that her translator identified as skepticism. Even the mighty Ursoid Confederacy, humanity's closest allies in this sector, seemed uncertain. "When do we begin?" Maya asked. Vextal gestured toward a shimmering portal that materialized in the center of the chamber. "The Gauntlet awaits. Your observers may watch from the safety chambers adjacent to the course. They will be evacuated to the exit points as the challenges progress." Maya looked back at Ambassador Rodriguez and the small human delegation. Rodriguez gave her a subtle, "Not everything depended on this moment." Humanity had been trying to join the Galactic Defense Coalition for 3 standard years, but their application kept being rejected. Too young a species, too aggressive, too unpredictable. This was their final chance to prove themselves worthy. She stepped through the portal. The first chamber was a maze of razor-sharp crystal formations that shifted and moved with mechanical precision. Most species, she'd been briefed, would carefully analyze the patterns, waiting for the optimal moment to proceed. Maya took a different approach. She sprinted directly into the maze, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to duck, weave, and roll between the moving blades. Where others saw death traps, she saw a dance partner. 3 minutes later, she emerged into the second chamber, blood trickling from a shallow cut on her cheek, but otherwise unharmed. The observers in the safety chamber were still discussing optimal strategies for the first challenge when alarms began sounding. Maya had triggered the second phase. The gravity chamber was designed to crush most beings under 5 times their planet's standard gravity. Maya felt her bones strain as the artificial field engaged, but she'd trained for worse. Growing up on Luna Colony's variable gravity training grounds had prepared her for exactly this kind of punishment. While the other species representatives were still calculating the minimum safe passage time, Maya was already army crawling across the chamber floor, her muscles burning but her determination unwavering. By the time the observers realized she was moving to the third challenge, panic had begun to set in among the watching aliens. "Impossible," chittered High Klaxon Zexkar. "No being can move that fast through the maze and maintain the strength for gravity manipulation." Ambassador Rodriguez smiled grimly. "You don't know humans very well." The third chamber was psychological warfare, a room filled with holographic projections of an individual's greatest fears. Most beings would spend hours confronting and overcoming their mental barriers. Maya walked through her childhood nightmares, her failure-based anxieties, and her fear of letting down her species, as if they were morning mist. She'd learned long ago that fear was just another form of information, and information could be processed and filed away. The fourth chamber tested adaptability, a constantly changing environment that cycled through acid rain, freezing temperatures, scorching heat, and toxic gases. Species typically needed specialized equipment for each phase. Maya had something better. She had grown up on a world where adaptability meant survival. She used her flight suit's basic environmental controls, improvised shelter from debris, and simply endured what couldn't be avoided. The fifth chamber was combat, automated defense systems designed to test a being's tactical abilities under pressure. Maya approached it like the starfighter pilot she was, thinking 3 moves ahead, using the environment as both weapon and shield. Her movements were economical, precise, and devastatingly effective. By now, the observer chambers were in chaos. Representatives from various species were demanding explanations, reviewing sensors, and arguing about whether the human was somehow cheating. The Gauntlet's automated systems confirmed what they couldn't believe. She was not only surviving but excelling. The sixth and final chamber was the ultimate test, a puzzle that required both intellectual brilliance and the willingness to make impossible sacrifices. Previous challengers had spent days analyzing the multidimensional mathematical equations while balancing moral choices that had no clear answers. Maya looked at the setup for exactly 47 seconds, then began making rapid inputs on the control interfaces. "She's not even thinking it through," gasped Ethereal Prime Luminous Current of Thought. "Yes, she is," Rodriguez replied quietly. "She's just thinking faster than you're used to." Maya's solution was elegant in its simplicity and brutal in its efficiency. She had realized that the puzzle was designed around the assumption that the solver would try to save everyone in the theoretical scenario. Instead, she chose to save the maximum number of beings by accepting the minimum necessary losses, then found a way to implement that choice in under 3 minutes. The Gauntlet's completion tone echoed through all the chambers simultaneously. In the observer chambers, alien representatives were staring at displays showing Maya Chen standing calmly in the completion chamber, checking her chronometer with the casual air of someone who had just finished a routine exercise. Total elapsed time: 47 minutes and 33 seconds. The previous record for reaching even the fourth chamber had been held by a Ursoid warrior at 6 hours and 18 minutes. He had died there. When Maya stepped back through the portal into the council chamber, the silence was deafening. She looked up at Commander Vextal, who seemed to have forgotten how to operate his translator. "So," Maya said, brushing dust off her flight suit, "about that membership application. The Galactic Defense Coalition would later record this as the day they learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, their courage, or even their adaptability. It was their refusal to accept that something couldn't be done simply because no one had done it before. 6 months later, Captain Maya Chen would lead the Coalition's first joint human-alien squadron to victory against the Void Reapers. But that's another story. This was the day humanity stopped asking for permission to be remarkable. They had always been remarkable. They just needed the right stage to prove it.